Hi viewers, welcome to SEKHAR'S Bio Factory for NEET Plant Kingdom with plant life cycle and alternation of generations. If you like this video, subscribe my channel and click on bell icon to get notification. Like, follow and share my videos to your students and friends to get more information in biology related to NEET and other national state level competitive exams. In this video, I am going to explain the plant life cycle and alternation of generations. A life cycle describes the series of stages that an individual organism passes through between the time it is conceived until the time it produces offsprings of its own. This series of stages are referred to as a life cycle because the offsprings passes through the same series before they produce their own offsprings. The plant it starts their life as a seed, which seed germination takes place, then it grows into a adult plant. This matured plant it can produces flowers which are fertilized and produce seeds in fruits or seed pod. The plants eventually dies, leaving seeds which germinate to produce a new plant again. The alternation of a sexual phase and an asexual phase in life cycle of an organism can be observed. The alternation of generations are also called metagenesis or heterogenesis. Different plant groups complete their life cycle in different pattern. The phases in which the life cycle is completed follow each other rapidly is called alternation of generation. The alternation of generation occur in plants. It depends on the type of plant body and its nature. All plant undergoes a life cycle that takes them through both haploid and diploid generations. There is a fluctuation between diploid and haploid stages that occur in plants is called alternation of generations. In most of the plants, the meiosis and fertilization it divides the life of organism into two distinct phases or generations. The sexual phase is called the gametophyte and sexual cells are produced. The asexual phase or sporophytic generation it can produces spores asexually. The plant life cycle alternates between haploid and diploid generations generally. During this time, the embryo development seen only in diploid sporophytic generation. At the same time, this embryo is produced by the fusion of male and female gametes from haploid generation. During the life cycle, any sexually reproducing plant, there is an alternation between gamete producing haploid gametophyte and spore producing diploid sporophyte. However, different plant groups as well as individuals may show different patterns of life cycle, haploid, intermediate, Haplo Diplontic or Diplo Haplontic depending upon its nature. During life cycle, some of the plants they may have haploid plant body or structures These are called gametophyte. Similarly, the diploid plant body or diploid structures is called sporophyte. In plants, both haploid and diploid cells have a capability to perform mitosis cell division. The haploid gamete producing plant body is referred as gametophyte and diploid spores producing plant body is called sporophyte generally. The haploid plant body, it produces haploid gametes with the help of mitosis division. Following, fertilization takes place to form a diploid zygote. This diploid zygote may undergo mitotical divisions to produce sporophytes, sometimes may divide meiotically to produce haploid spores. Haploid spores divide mitotically and produces gametophyte. In the life cycle of asexually reproducing plant, an alternation of generation occur in between haploid and diploid phases of plant. There are three types of life cycles in plants depending upon their body nature. In this, the first type of life cycle is haplontic life cycle. The second type is diplontic life cycle. The third type is Diplo-Haplontic or Haplo Diplontic life cycle. All these life cycles, they are fundamentally different in the duration of haploid and diploid phases in its life cycles. The first type of life cycle is haplontic life cycle. In this haplontic life cycle, haplophase is the most dominant phase. In this, the sporophytic generation is represented only by one cell, it is called zygote. The haploid spores divide mitotically to form this gametophytic structure. The dominant photocentric phase, it is free-living haploid gametophytic phase, and the plant body produce gametes with the help of mitosis divisions. These gametes are fused to form a diploid zygote. Sometimes this diploid zygote, it may produce diploid sporophyte. In this, the dominant photosynthetic phase is free-living haploid gametophyte and sporophyte is non-free living and it depends on gametophyte. The meiosis division, it occurs in the structure of zygote to form haploid spores. The major part of life cycle is it is dominated by haploid gametophyte. Example, majority of green algae like Volvax, Spirogyra and some species of Chlamydomonas, it performs these haploid haplontic life cycle. The second life cycle is diplontic life cycles. In this diplontic life cycle, the dominant phase is diplophase. The plant body is sporophyte which is dependent and independent and free living. The diploid spores or diploid sporophyte is the dominant phase and photosynthetic independent phase of plant body. But the gametophytic phase is represented by a few celled haploid gametophytes. The gametophytic are extremely completely reduced and it depends physically nutritionally on sporophyte. The major part of the life cycle is the diploid sporophyte. Example, all angiosperms, gymnosperms, Some of the diatoms and brown algae like fucus and sargassum, it shows this type of diplontic life cycle. The third type is Diplo-Haplontic or Haplo Diplontic life cycles. In these life cycles, there exist both sporophyte as well as gametophyte alternatively. So both these sporophyte and gametophyte perform photosynthesis and are multicellular bodies free living with almost two equal phases like diplophase and haplophase. When morphologically different sporophytes and gametophytes occur, then such type of life cycles are called Diplo-Haplontic-heteromorphic. Example, all Bryophytes, pteridophytes and some of the brown algae, it can perform such type of life cycles. In Bryophytes, the dominant phase is the independent photosynthetic thyroid erect haploid gametophyte, and it alternates with short-lived multicellular sporophyte totally or partially depending on the gametophyte for its anchor. In pteridophytes, the dominant phase is represented by sporophyte, which is diploid independent photosynthetic vascular plant body, and it alternates with multicellular independent but short-lived haploid gametophyte. It is an intermediate type of life cycle where both sporophyte and gametophyte are multicellular, equal dominant and often free living. Especially bryophytes and pteridophytes exhibit this type of pattern. All algal members exhibit haplontic life cycle, but some of the members like Ectocarpus, Phallisiphonia, Kales having Haplo Diplontic life cycle. When the two phases are morphologically identical in the life cycle, then such type of life cycles are called Diplo-Haplontic-isomorphic. Example, the green algae like Ulva, Cladophora, brown algae such as Ectocarpus. These members shows Diplo-Haplontic-isomorphic life cycle. In seed plants, they having a Diplo-Haplontic life cycle which have two phases. In this, the first phase is dominant concurrent sporophytic phase and second phase is brief gametophyte phase. Both phases are multicellular. So somatic growth follows meiosis and somatic growth follows union of gametes or syngamy. These are the different types of life cycles observed in plants. Thank you for watching. If you like this video, subscribe my channel, like, share my videos to your students and friends.